Well, hello everyone. It's me, just me this evening actually. Obviously we did our last open bar more than a week ago because I was away on vacation as it happens after that, so I didn't get a chance to do a super chat catch up like I normally would. So I had to wait until now to finally have the time to do it. And it's just going to be me this evening because the long man himself is off to see Mission Impossible tonight because he's got to cover it for various live streams. And myself, I'm probably going to go and see it tomorrow night. And I'm not going to lie, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be the movie of the summer. Obviously, Indiana Jones has imploded. I don't think Barbie's going to be a serious threat, and Oppenheimer is going to be good, I'm sure, but it's not exactly going to be summer blockbuster material. So I think Mission Impossible could well be it. I'm looking forward to talking about it on Open Bar on Thursday, anyway. But for the time being, yeah, there's a whole bunch of super chats that were left over from Open Bar 56, and I am not going to leave them unchallenged. So I'm gonna go through them now, actually, and do my best to entertain you guys for the next little while. Sorry, it's just me, so there's not gonna be the usual witty banter between me and Mahler. But hey, I'll do my best. Okay, I'm only one man. So, the first one that we have here was from BPats, who says, I watched Fleabag, and the big takeaway there is that she does anal and she's got a huge arsehole. Do you not mean that she is a huge arsehole? Yeah, everything I've heard about Fleabag, it just sounds like a horrible character doing horrible things to people and not really suffering any comeuppance for it, so I don't really know what the big deal is about it. But man, Hollywood loves Phoebe Waller-Bridge. There you go. Discordian says, sorry that I'm late, but Dankula dropped Mad Lad Emperor Norton. Hail. Well, you gotta watch that first. I mean, priorities, man. So Sapaton says, saw the Marvels, hit me up for all the details. Well, okay, you're gonna have to tell me more. Email me, bro. Tell me all about it. Gary D says, what I despise most is that they turned Indy into an absolute putz. I don't know how Ford can be proud of it. I sympathise that you sat through it to review. I tell you, man, it was not a pleasant experience. And yeah, poor Harrison Ford, I guess. Does he really need the money? I mean, was he locked into a contract and he just had to do this movie? Not sure, but yeah, for basically the biggest character of his entire career and really one of the things he's going to be best known for, this is a hell of a way to end it, so I feel bad for him in that respect. Weirdo with a cello says, unrelated, but I finally decided to watch through all of Ragnarok. Can't wait for it to come to PC so that I can find for myself what gets bigger the more you take away. I'm not crying, you're crying. It's a good game. Larry Esker says, Drinker, you're going to be at Anime Matsuri here in Houston, right? Yes. Will you have a booth? How can we meet you? I have no idea what I'm going to have. I mean, when I've done conventions before, I've had a table, and that's where people have come and met me. Like, I've been in the sort of central artists area, which is kind of where you would put, I don't know, comic book artists or authors, that sort of thing. It just seemed like the most normal fit for me. I think based on the pictures I've seen from the other, like, my fellow YouTubers who have been at Anime Matsuri, they're kind of like laid out in a row of tables, I think in the sort of celebrity area, so I presume I'll be there with them if that's the case. But as I know more closer to the time, I'll let you guys know. Lloyd Buckley says, Indiana Jones and the multiverse will be next. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm sure they will. They'll completely CGI Harrison Ford. Grendel Vivat says, if Archimedes can engineer limited time travel, how can he not create a weapon to defeat the Romans? Tony Stark's Mark 1 armor is less of a reach. That's true, yeah. I've still never understood how a clockwork dial, which is essentially it's basically just a wristwatch. Like, it doesn't contain sophisticated electronics or advanced equipment or processing power or anything. It's just a clockwork computer, essentially a really primitive one. How that can somehow find breaches in the space-time continuum? And, like, are these things so common that they occur regularly? If so, how come no one's ever encountered one before and documented it? Like, how come planes have never flown into them, or scientists have never discovered them before? How come Archimedes is the only one that ever figured it out? It's bullshit, that's why. Volcanius Rex says, who got it worse, Indiana Jones or Luke Skywalker? I mean, well, Luke's dead, so on that basis, at least Indiana Jones got it slightly better, but Yeah, at least we never saw Indy drinking green alien titty milk, or I was gonna say get beat by the female protagonist of the movie, but he kind of did. He got knocked out by her. So it's tight, but I think Luke got it slightly worse. But they're both terrible. McLovin says, "Can we all just admit now that we were all wrong about Star Wars prequels and that they are no longer that bad now, especially after all that we've seen?" I mean, I think they're still bad. Like, it's just comparatively, compared to the sequels, they seem better because they are better than them. But they're still not great movies. They get better as, I guess, as you progress through them. That seems to be the general consensus on it. At least they were created for the right reasons. They're bad just because Lucas fell short as a storyteller, not because he was trying to deconstruct or destroy what he'd created before. Alexander Vliestra says, "Is Reaper being brought to open bar soon?" Shit, man, I'd have him on. He's really good. I've mentioned him a few. I've mentioned him a few times on streams. I've put a couple of supportive comments on his latest videos. So I should really invite him on. Yeah, I just don't know if there's any contact details for him. But yeah, I'd have him on because he's really good. Mr. Nobody says, "Indiana Jones and the dialysis of Disney." I think they're on dialysis at this point, man. They need life support. Goger says, "Hey Drinker, it's time to lock balls." It is indeed. Mike Fons says, "I'm seeing Dial of Destiny tonight. Wish me and my sanity luck." I can promise nothing, man. Obviously, you'll have seen it by this point. I hope you're still alive. I hope you made it through it. That was not a good experience. Alex says, "How was the CGI of the young Indy sequence?" Yeah, I mean, I mentioned this in my review. Generally, it's okay. I mean, it's better than, say, for example, Luke Skywalker from The Mandalorian. Like, they clearly put more money into it. And for the most part, it looks okay. His face, it's got this slightly uncanny look sometimes, like a slightly rubbery look, and maybe his mouth doesn't always move as it should, like to form the words that he's saying, so it's just slightly out of sync. So there's occasional moments that take you out of it. And I don't know if they used Harrison Ford for the motion capture or they just sort of projected him onto another actor or something like that. I think probably it was just Harrison Ford doing it. If that's the case, though, he's got the face of a 40-year-old, but he moves like an 80-year-old. So there's that slight disconnect there. He doesn't move the way Indy did in the early movies, put it that way. But it could have been worse. You could probably have gotten away with just doing a whole movie like that, considering that's a long sequence. It's like 15, 20 minutes, so it's a good chunk of the film. And I think, yeah, man, if you'd just done a movie set during World War II about Indy, trying to get the Spear of Destiny or something like that, you could have had a lot of fun with that. I think that would have been an okay movie, and maybe people would have accepted it a bit better. Just still having Indy in his heyday. Big Johnny says, "Is it as bloody as the OG films?" Nope. Not at all. There's one bit during the finale where you get to see the bad guy, like dead after a plane crash, and he's just like lying on the grounds with he's been burned or something, and it really feels like they cut a big sequence out there because he just kind of almost dies off screen. It's such an anticlimactic death for this villain that's been throughout the entire movie. Normally with these movies, the villains die pretty spectacular deaths, like their faces melt or they get eaten by crocodiles or something like that. But this, yeah, it was just dies in a plane crash, off screen. It's really like mundane. Mr. Whiteboard Man says, "Dial is so left-wing feminist that an echo chamber is literally a plot point." Also, Indy wants to die, watch history, but fails to realize that the moon landing is a historic occasion. That's true, yeah. It's weird as well because he's never really hinted that like this particular period of history is the one that he's truly passionate about. Like, oh man, if only I could have like existed in the time of Archimedes 2,000 years ago. That's something I wish I could have seen. It's just kind of dropped into this movie right at the end, and just yeah, it feels as weird as the rest of this film. Alex's channel says Nick Cage's Pig is a good old man movie. Nice, I've heard good things about Pig actually. Sebastian Anon says, "You could cut 2.5 hours off Indy 5 and nothing of value would be lost." Very true. Patrick Mulligan, "More, care to explain the bugs in SST can launch an asteroid from across the galaxy to Earth? How can they target Earth? How does it travel faster than light?" Yeah. I brought up this point in previous live streams from Starship Troopers that The attack on Earth, or the asteroid that hits Buenos Aires and triggers the war with the arachnids, I think was a false flag operation by Earth's government to just justify another war, because there's no freaking way that bugs halfway across the galaxy could throw an asteroid at Earth through space and it would be targeted so precisely that it would hit it. I mean, that would be like firing an artillery shell from Paris and hitting another one that had been fired from freaking Brussels, and they hit each other mid-flight. Like, the odds are that astronomical, quite literally. So yeah, I think it's more of an inside job, which would be quite a cool plot point, and it would fit quite well into the world of Starship Troopers, just this perpetual war industry. Charles Emerson Winchester says, at what point in the movie did Indy milk an alien tit and then drink green milk? Never quite got to that level, but he did get knocked out by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, which is just as insulting. T1S says, where did you see Flash in Indy 5? On a farm? What? Yar! That's all I'm saying. And Centorino says, John Campia like Cawhawk. What? Alright, I get what you did there. Malt Krug says, if you define time travel this way, that you end up at the exact same place, then continental drift is your smallest problem. Earth itself wouldn't be there. It moves through space following our sun, which follows our galaxy. Yeah, exactly. The galaxy itself is moving through the universe. So, just me sitting here at this desk, I'm moving astronomically fast through the universe when you factor all that stuff in. So yeah, it's the same paradox you always have with time travel, like Back to the Future and stuff. If Marty traveled back to 1955 without accounting for like the movement of the Earth, he would just materialize out in deep space, and instantly die. So yeah, it's always that. I don't think the whole continental drift thing was the reason they got transported back to Archimedes' time anyway. I think the Dial of Destiny can only take you to that place, as far as I understand it anyway. Chrissy's NYC hot dog stance says, only 3 Indiana Jones movies for me, only 3 Star Wars movies for me. Endgame was the last MCU movie for me. I'm done with corporate greed. Quite right, sir, and I'm sure you're a lot happier as well. Just feel like having those movies in your life and nothing else. I wish I could erase the others. Enrique Duenas says, I went in with a good attitude, a free ticket, and full of spoilers, and still hated it. Keep raging, please. You're doing God's work. Thank you, man. And yeah, it's been a bad experience for everyone. Derek says, I remember plot leaks from long ago saying that the movie was going to end with Indy being erased from history. I was angry about it at the time, but based on what you've said about the film, maybe it would have been a mercy. Honestly, I think that was the original ending. You can kind of tell that this ending has been chopped to pieces and reshot, and I think, that's probably what they had before Indy did die, because this whole contrived, like, she knocks him out and just magically transports him back to his apartment in New York just feels so rushed and tacked on. It's like they knew they had to do something desperately to try and fix this, and that was the best they could come up with, but it still sucks. Macrodose says, spending money meaninglessly. Yep. $300 million. Probably more like $350 million, actually. They just didn't want to admit to it. That is a lot of money. Imagine how many low-budget films you can make with that. Insidious is a good example. It's absolutely kicked Indiana Jones' ass at the cinema, and it was made for, what, 20 million? 20 million. I mean, for the price of this movie, you could have made, 15 of them? I mean, it's just insulting. Sylvester's Brawley says, Phoebe Waller-Bridge was Helena? I thought it was Bruce Forsyth digitally de-aged with CGI. See what you mean about the jaw. For the American viewers here, if you don't know who Bruce Forsyth is, look him up. You'll see the resemblance. Oliver says, Indiana Jones is my favourite movie trilogy. Seeing what Phoebe did to him broke my heart. These films mean the world to us, but nothing to them. They're just grifters and don't deserve their jobs. Absolutely. Pure corporate greed, narcissism, and idiocy. And buffoonery, boy! All of the above. They can't hold a candle to what was created before. But it's good to see it getting roundly rejected by everyone. This one is absolutely crashing and burning at the box office, and it's quite glorious to see, really. Superfly says, "Can I try and get my friend's podcast a shout out? Every Pokemon episode ever podcast. EFEEP. Or sorry, EPEEP for short. Super fun. We all watch and review every single Pokemon episode." Nice one, man. Well, good stuff. If you're really into Pokemon, go watch that. Andimus says, "Given the current subject, I just googled Hollywood hates masculinity, and the second result under people also ask was, is the critical drinker an alcoholic? Cheers, drinker and company." That's nice. I've become a campaigner on on this subject. And they asked if I'm an alcoholic. Yes, I am. Deuce Pigeon says, "Indiana Jones and the Disaster of Disney." True, that very much is. Particularly Lucasfilm. I bet there's been a lot of meetings happening, I think, ever since this movie came out, and they've realised the full extent of the disaster. I think it's going to be very interesting the next few weeks to see how they react. White Knight Leo says, "And in other news, the US has outlawed race discrimination, again, for like the sixth time, which is ironic given the race obsession in Hollywood. Well done, US, you've successfully cured racism. Well done." But yeah, Hollywood is very focused on it. Acid Hot Pocket says, "In Dial of Destiny, Short Round was lost in the Great Leap Forward." Ooh, brutal but probably true. Reaper says, "This movie makes me want to crash a bloody plane into a mountain. Hope you all had a good day." Thank you, man. Please don't do it. Honest Blu-ray says, "I've seen Hollywood going this way since 2012. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. I was a bit slower to catch on, but by about 2016, I could see it." Man of the Half Hour says, "Comedy Central should play that Indiana Jones episode of South Park on repeat." Yeah. Fight the Club says, "Sounds like they started with a script called Helena Shaw and the menopausal power fantasy of Kathleen Kennedy, but realised that no one gives a fuck about Helena Shaw or KK." Very true, yeah. I mean, they tried so hard to make this character work. You just know they had scripts and stuff lined up for a TV show, and it's never going to happen. Macrodose says, "Carpet shards are spoken for already." Okay. Liquid Metal Rob says, "It would be great if Indy used the Dial of Destiny to go back in time to when KK was considered making the film and just say, 'Can you not?' That would have been good, yeah. I wish they had done that." Fight the Club says, "Sounds like they started with a... Oh, right, you've already done that one, actually. It must be a repeat." Casual Anime Guy says, "Christ, I was wondering what..." Sorry, cheers. Don't know why I said Christ. It must be all the rage. "I was wondering what your thoughts were on Guy Ritchie's King Arthur movie. I think it's quite a bit dumb, fun action and a unique spin on the Arthurian legend. Perfect popcorn flick." Well, I didn't love it. Personally, I don't think Guy Ritchie's really the guy to be directing movies like that. He's really in his element with gangster films and, a certain amount of action and stuff, like The Man from Uncle I thought was really good, but this one just felt a bit weird, and the CGI heavy ending was not his style at all. Macrodose says, "Sometimes even an elf can have the heart of a Nord." Nice. Clyde Dashing, plot twist. KK was a George Lucas plant for revenge. I mean, revenge against who? Like, Disney for, like, giving him loads of money to buy his company? I'm pretty sure George Lucas did not wish for this to happen. Yeah, that would have to be the worst revenge plot ever, but... I don't know. I wish he could just buy Lucasfilm at a reduced cost and just decanonize all these garbage movies and just say, "Right, I'm locking it now. In perpetuity, no one can make more Star Wars movies or Indiana Jones films. Willow, you can have at it." No one cares about Willow. Feeling Dangerous says, "One more super chat. Hail to the drinker with the one liver to rule them all." Thank you. It's a very tough liver at this point, so appreciate it. HP Lefty says, "For any gamers out there looking for actually good Indiana Jones, try the La Mulana series. It's pulp adventure into a ruins filled with death traps and dripping in mythology. Use the walkthrough if needed." There you go, good recommendation. Macrodose says, "New Lucas." Yeah, please bring the old George Lucas back, that'd be nice. Failed Turing Test says, "If the Indiana Jones franchise is about religions, shouldn't this have been Indiana Jones and the Robe of Krusty Kreme?" Brutal. Kuru says, "I think KK has been using the wealth of Disney and Lucasfilm to act as a patron benefactor for activists. The results are irrelevant. Their contracts are a gift for doing prior work in the activist space." I don't know. I mean, like, she could try that, I suppose. She's obviously got a certain ideological persuasion that she's determined to force into all these projects, but Yeah, look at the good it's done her. It's tarnished her legacy. I think up until she took over Lucasfilm, she was a respected producer. She had worked on some of the biggest movies in the business and apparently been quite good at it and quite successful. Now people are going to look back on her legacy in Hollywood with absolute disdain because they're going to know that she has destroyed not one, not two, but three franchises. That's impressive, if nothing else. Evans says, favorite Indiana Jones movie? I love The Last Crusade, the fight on the tank, the scene on the blimp, no ticket, the moments with Indy and his dad, especially at the end when they save each other. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna actually agree with you. I think Last Crusade might well be my favorite. You know, Raiders of the Lost Ark, fantastic movie. It's like the quintessential Indiana Jones film. It's tough to fault it. Temple of Doom, much darker, much more interesting and different. It's the one for the contrarians to love as their favorite. But yeah, Last Crusade's kind of like the reasons you mentioned. Like, I love the scenes with Indy and his dad. I think Sean Connery was an amazing choice, even though he was only like 13 years older than Harrison Ford, apparently. But man, the age difference looked massive. And yeah, I think the action scenes were great. I think it rounded things out nicely. Looking for the Holy Grail. Sorry, the name escaped me there for a second. And yeah, just the Indy, that scene where he's reaching for it and his father compels him to let it go. This quest that's consumed so much of his life and almost took his life. And they riding off into the sunset together. Him, his dad, Marcus, and Salah. It's just a perfect way to end the trilogy. Really loved it. So I think that would probably be my favorite. And man, Alison Doody is hot. She's probably the hottest of the three, actually. One Way Glass says, did you guys see Spielberg crediting all the main players in the series and leaving out Kennedy at the premiere? She was not pleased. Yeah, I saw that. That was great. A great little burn. Mitch Thibault says, Star Wars is like the M. Night Shyamalan movie career. A few good movies years ago and then nothing but crap and few people left to care. Yeah, very much so. I mean, I was talking to Muller about this once quite recently, saying, what happens when the bad outnumbers the good? Eventually it's going to taint the entire franchise and people are just going to gradually forget, like, oh yeah, Star Wars used to be this amazing thing that people loved. It's just going to be a collection of terrible movies and terrible TV shows that's just buried all of it. Zodlander says, why is it so fucking hard to make an OG story now? Is it all company involvement in the writing now? I don't get it. Maybe Walt Disney just said at the deathbed, let it burn, just burn it all. I think probably budgets are a major factor in this because movies are so expensive to make now, particularly these big Disney animated or action movies. And when you're investing that much money, you kind of want a surefire hit. And the way they do that is just by doing sequels and remakes and reboots and stuff. To capitalize on existing interest. That's all it is. If movies were cheaper, they'd be willing to take more risks. So there's that, and also the fact that the writers that they're hiring now are generally inexperienced, talentless morons who just got hired because they either know the right people or they say the right things or they tick the right boxes, and so they don't have the skill to tell good stories anymore. So that's pretty much the reasons, I would say. Me Too says, or Me Low says, since no one cares about the Disney stuff, why not talk about Kung Fury? Kung Fury is an excellent movie. It's really funny, actually. And I actually did a happy hour on it. God, it must have been a year or two ago. But you can find it on my second channel. Loved that film. Anon42 says, what do you think about Guy Ritchie doing the sequel to The Gentleman as a TV series? I think it will be Guy's first TV series. Yeah, I'm all on board for that. Hopefully it's good. Istari Azul says, why exactly was it up to Fury, a human, to find a new planet for the Skrulls in the first place? When did Earth become an advanced spacefaring civilization? Yeah, it's more convenient bullshit writing. And I can honestly say I'm never going to watch Secret Invasion. Don't give a shit about it. And that's going to be happening. I think that's probably going to be my policy now. I think with the Marvel TV shows, I just don't care about any of them. And I don't want to waste, 5-10 hours of my life watching them just to, because nobody else cares about them either. It's gone beyond like annoyance or irritation or anger, and it's just apathy. I just don't care about them, and I'm not going to waste time on them. So yeah, fuck it. They can do whatever they want with Secret Invasion. No one cares anymore. Millen says, Hail Drinker and his fellow drunken Britain friends. Greetings from Argentina. Did you talk about the Dune trailer? It looks mind-blowing. This may look like a huge SC, but cause our cosmic inflation, 100% this year, it's only £4. Wait, it's only 3 now. Now it's 2, 1. Okay, you owe me £2. Yeah, that was 2,000 Argentinian, whatever your currency is called, and it's only £4. Jesus Christ. Well, I very much appreciate it anyway. I'm sorry your inflation's so high, but yeah, I don't know if we talked about the Dune trailer on the stream, but I've seen it. It looks good, and I'm excited to watch the movie. You know, the first one was a decent take on the book, so hopefully they do it justice with the second. Doll Life Dan says KK will not be fired because if a company that fires the most powerful woman in Hollywood will have big ESG score downgrade. That's very true. Disney will collapse under the weight of their debt if they lose access to those interest-free loans. I mean, there's got to be something in that. I honestly think so, because partly it'll just be optics as well, like their public relations aspect of it. Because if she was any other executive, if she was a man, she would have been fucking fired years ago. Look at what they did to Chapek. Fired in the middle of the night. They would never dare to do that to Kathleen Kennedy. And it's quite frustrating to see, because you've got this fucking moron in charge of a studio that she doesn't have a clue how to run, destroying every franchise in sight. I mean, it's going to catch up with her eventually, but I'm sure she's going to be given all the applause and all the accolades from Disney and from, you know, all the news media hailing her as the greatest thing ever. But people are going to know that she actually is fucking terrible at her job. Derek says, I decided to watch all the Mission Impossible films from Ghost Protocol onwards, since the last one I saw was MI3. God, yeah, Ghost Protocol is better then. And they were great. Tom Cruise really knows how to give the people what they want. Exactly. That's all it is. You know, he's just making action movies that people want. Imagine that in this day and age. And I think the latest one is gonna top all of them. And I think it's gonna dominate the summer. I think probably we're gonna see another Top Gun Maverick phenomenon here. Because realistically, there's not much competition either. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. K-Lock says, a mate of mine is proper pissed that his unit manager credit was missing from Secret Invasion. Having now seen it, I think he's probably lucked out. Yeah, like I say, I'm not going to watch it. So, yeah, no idea. No idea what's going on in it, and I do not care. What's the next one? G's Salty Taint says, has anyone played Left 4 Dead? Playing whilst watching. Very nice. Left 4 Dead's a right old one. That was like back on the Xbox 360 days. But yeah, played it. Very much enjoyed it. The online play was great. Jesus says, even though I don't drink, I never miss an open bar. I saw The Flash with a buddy. I audibly sighed when the Wonder Woman theme song hit. My buddy gave it a 2.5 out of 5. A 2 hours conversation later, 5 out of 5. Cheers. Or sorry, did you say 0.5 out of 5? That's probably more realistic. Yeah, I mean, The Flash, look, it's not the worst film I've ever seen in my life or anything. I wasn't raging at the end of it. It's just a mess. That's really all it is. Same problem as you always have with the DC movies. But yeah, it was nice seeing Gal Gadot back in it for a moment or two. Yeah, it was this weird moment of like semi-nostalgia. I don't even know how to describe it. It was just, oh yeah, I liked seeing her as Wonder Woman. She looked nice and she made me feel happy. Robin J. Saylor says, we demand doggo. Yeah, I'm sorry, the doggo just wasn't available that night. He'd gone to sleep, or both of them had gone to sleep in like the living room. So, you know, when you try to shift a greyhound that's already sleeping, it's just impossible. You'd have to put them on a forklift truck and carry them through. Week 13 says, Mr. H should play Aquaman. Yeah, the dude's massive. He can do that. Andrew Valdez says, I just graduated from college. I wanted to thank all you guys for providing me relief and peace throughout my 4 years when I first found Mauler. I've been subscribed since your first channel. It's been a crazy ride and I'm so very excited for the future. Oh, that's nice, man. Congratulations to you for graduating. You've got your whole life ahead of you and I hope you do something awesome with it. And I'm glad we could provide you with a little bit of entertainment along the way. Best of luck to you, man. And Nate, for $100, says, Drinker, very grateful for all the work that you do exposing bad movies and praising the few gems that come. Thank you very much. I watched your video on Midsummer once a week and I laugh every time. PewDiePie girl. Christ, that's an old one. Mahler, I love all your videos. I only wish they came faster. Lol. Have a drink on me. Thank you very much, man. Thank you for your generosity. And yeah, Mahler is hard at work on his next video as we speak. Well, actually, right now he's watching Mission Impossible, but then he'll get right back to it. Reaper says, does Jared Leto's Joker deserve a chance? Nah, not really. It's damaged, you might say. Hence the tattoo. Yeah, I think he had his chance to make that work, and just no, it's not happening. John Farley says, opinion or impression of Chris Stuckman, please. Mahler does the impression of Chris Stuckman. I can't do it, but I just think he's. I don't understand how he's got so many subscribers. Yeah, I don't really know what people get out of a Chris Stuckman review, but it's not insight into movies, that's for sure. The Robin Knight says, something fresh? We've milked and slaughtered the goodwill and legacy of Lucas, so now we have to try something new. Well, yeah, the problem is they can't come up with anything new. But yeah, they definitely have destroyed everything that Lucas built. Danish Cartoonist says, Unbridled Rage Guardians of the Galaxy 3 when? I know you want to. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he does. It's just he's got a lot of unbridled rages to get out of the way first. And as you've probably realised, they're pretty big videos to make. Taylor Ramirez says, something new and fresh equals brunette British woman. Yeah, for like the 5th time. Zitra Stanich says, hail drinker and all, would you consider inviting sometimes the guy behind the channel, Johnny Law? It's a great Scottish guy with great sense of humour and great insights. I mean, yeah, could do. I don't know anything about the channel, so I'd have to look it up, but we're always up for having new guests on. Cannon Falderall says, KK, let Lucasfilm die. Kill it if you have to. Seems like she is as well. Emperor Soft Turtle says, I would rather have a Jar Jar movie. He can generate an emotional reaction from me. Rey is so dull. She really is. I agree. Mr. Wise Guy says, Mahler, please do Five Nights at Freddy's and WWL for EFAP movies. I don't know what WWL is, though. Edward Chandler says, Continental Drift is the least of Indy's worries. Solar and galactic orbit is going to really mess you up. Stargate SG-1 provided a template for this. Yeah, they really did. That was why it took them so long to calculate the next destination for their Stargate, in the first couple of seasons. AJ Matheson says, 2020's entertainment news happens. Sam Neill scream intensifies. Yeah. James Busher says, what are your top 5 Korean movies and shows? Crikey. This is where I fall short because I'm going to get Korean ones mixed up with Indonesian ones and Chinese ones and Japanese ones and stuff because my knowledge of those movies is terrible. I can say Squid Game was great. That was Korean, wasn't it? What was the other one? All of Us Are Dead. That was a really good zombie show and it was set in South Korea. Parasite, I'd have to, I think, give that a great mention because, that's a fantastic movie. Is Old Boy a Korean one? Hold on. Let me just check. If it is, I will go with that. Let's see. Yes, so it's South Korean, yeah. So I'd probably list Old Boy amongst them as well. Another really good one. Zodlander says, hey Muller, are your sacrifices to your eldritch gods done yet? Can we get a good movie now? Please make insane movies stop. By the way, great job, Disparu. Nice one, man. And, well, it looks like we're going to get one with Mission Impossible. Sound of Freedom was really good. And apparently Insidious is doing really well, too. So who knows? Maybe we're going to get some good movies this summer season. It could happen. RM says, cheers, everyone. How bad does Indy need to be for Grace Randolph to blame KK and Phoebe 2 minutes into her new review? Jeez. Yeah, I mean, she's pretty much the shill for all this stuff, so if even she's turning against it, it must be bad. OMG Puppies says, archetypal stories move people at a deep psychological level. Original Star Wars was boy becomes hero. For girls, the archetypal story is finding a high-status mate. Prince, vampire, billionaire. Well, that's an interesting point, actually, yeah. But you can't say that today. Girls can be heroes too, you bigots. But yeah, the more they try to force these things in, the more people reject them, I guess. Macrodose says, true CGI is God's eye view. Nice. The Burke says, practical without the tech is always possible. It just has to be used sparingly. Look at Werewolf in London. Yeah, very true. Or The Thing. Practical effects there were amazing. Master A says, hey Drinker, I literally only knew about the KK news now. When you're done with that weapon of yours, can I borrow it? I want to shoot myself too. Get in line. Bells Nichols says, are you guys paying attention to Chick Trek, same old thing? Nope. Timmy04 says, Mahler, I watched Midnight Mass and thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm still trying to form a full analysis of it, so just wondered what your criticisms of it would be. Also, are you going to play the new Amnesia game? I haven't talked to Mahler at length about Midnight Mass. I know he and the EFAP guys were not fans of the ending, partly for logistical reasons and stuff, like the way everyone just kind of gave up and got burned to death. But thematically, I think it works for what the story is, and yeah, overall, I thought it was a fantastic show. But yeah, it'd be good to talk about it sometime. OMG Puppy says, speaking of Boy Becomes Hero archetype, a great movie could be made of Heinlein's novel Starman Jones. Based, working class, teen runs away from abusive stepfather to join the Space Marines. Okay. Yeah, who knows, maybe we'll see it one day. Zilla Universe says, the new Jumanji movies feel more like Indiana Jones than the actual Indiana Jones 5 did. Yeah. Emerald Demus says, hi guys, please, I honestly want to know your thoughts on Man of Steel. It seems that you guys don't like it. I love the movie, including its fatherhood theme. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take up too much of your time with this one because I could go on for ages, but like, I guess I'm one of those people that don't have like extreme reactions to Man of Steel. My overall take is like it's a bit bleak and it's a bit dour, and yeah, like for example, Clark's dad dies a really stupid death. Like I get what they were trying to do about like having to use his powers judiciously and stuff, and it might entail personal cost, but man, there would have been better ways to do that. Yeah, the kind of convoluted beginning with Zod and his fight against Jor-El and stuff. It was just it made a relatively simple thing like Krypton like really convoluted, and it didn't really fit very well together. And yeah, the whole thing just kind of felt too slow, too heavy, too ponderous, and it was just all of Zack Snyder's tendencies as a filmmaker were just present and correct there. It just didn't feel like the kind of hopeful, optimistic vision you would want from Superman. Richard Slammer says, if they had the original cast of Rebels return in live action for Ahsoka, then and only then I might have been interested in it. Sent while driving. Good one. I hope you didn't crash in the process, man. If you can text while driving, that's impressive. But yeah, I never really cared much about Rebels, and I don't care much about Ahsoka, so I don't really have a dog in that fight. Stumpy says, show doggos. Next time I will. Next time. Ben Rose says, finally caught one of these live. Nice. This is your reminder that there's a canonical time travel in Star Wars and Ahsoka shouldn't be alive at the moment. Much love for the better country down under. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know what the deal is with the timeline for Ahsoka. I know they did things in Rebels and Clone Wars and all that other stuff. Not sure what the deal is there. Again, I find it hard to give a shit about any of these Disney Plus shows now. P. Both Flew says, money for the long man. When will Extraction 1 and 2 get some treatments? Well, hopefully EFAP Movies might cover it soon. I mean, I've reviewed them both, and I liked them. Dr. Egg Scout says, Hail Drinker, have you ever watched the Warner Brother animation DC movies such as Flashpoint Paradox, Apocalypse War, and Hell to Pay? I can't say I have, I'm afraid. Also, I've heard that some Scotsmen can't say purple burglar alarm. Well, I can. I just did, and I'm kind of drunk, so yeah, I'm quite impressed with myself. But yeah, I've not really watched any of those animated movies, I'm afraid. I don't know anything about them. Jake McGill, unfortunately this one's for Mahler, it says, you have said script writing is good, but John Truby says that the first script is probably the best and rewriting tends to yield worse results. Do you know why he says that? I have no idea why you would say that, because like usually script writing's a process of iteration. You produce something kind of rough to begin with, and you gradually refine your ideas down until you produce something really good. Like it's supposed to be a process of improvement. The problem, I guess, comes in when you've got a lot of people involved who start giving their input, and then you end up with a really convoluted script that just helps no one. Master A says, "Hi, Drinker and Muller. Nice to know a fellow Buffy fan. Drinker, when you're done, can I borrow that hardware? I want to shoot myself too." I'm sorry, the gun's for me. Bullet Sponge says, "In the Halo 3 Landfall trailer and the Halo 3 ODST live action trailer are exactly what the Halo TV should have been. Gritty, violent, and they told a better story in 3 to 7 minutes than the TV show did." Yeah, they honestly looked really good. It's a shame they couldn't have done more with that. Patrick Mulligan says, "Congratulations, Drinker, on achieving my third favourite film reviewer. Thank you. You're only behind Red Letter Media and EFAP now. Also, thoughts on Gattaca? Great film, in my opinion." Yeah, it's nice to be ranked third, so I appreciate it. Gattaca, I remember not liking it at the time, but I don't know if that opinion would change now because it was like, what, 15 years ago at least it came out, so it's been a long time since I've seen it. Yeah, I just remember being not that impressed with it at the time, but hey, I'd be happy to give it a rewatch. Master A says, "Hi, Drinker and Muller. Muller, nice to meet a fellow Buffy fan. Drinker, oh yeah, that's just a repeat. Sorry, I think you must have sent it that twice." Tyler Levine says, "For the panel, what game or comic book or movie, game, comic or book, etc. would you most like to see adapted as a show or film? Who would you like to see take the helm? I'd love to see Denis Villeneuve do the Elric saga." Gosh. I mean, now we're at the point of, I feel like a lot of things have been adapted already. I would still love to see an actual good adaptation of Resident Evil. After all this time, they've still never managed to crack it. I'd also like to see a really good Tomb Raider movie. I believe it can be done. I just believe that the people that need to be involved just aren't going to be, you know? I'm not really that enthusiastic about Phoebe Waller-Bridge doing a Tomb Raider TV show. Why the fuck they thought she would be involved in something like that, I have no idea. I can't wait for her to turn it into a quirky feminist comedy. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. Yeah. That Nobody Guy says, "The Lord of the Rings trilogy was the perfect marriage of practical CGI and green screen." Agreed. They even innovated some new CGI effects and bigatures. Yeah, the bigatures were amazing. When you see the behind the scenes stuff, like the Tower of Orthanc or Barad-dûr or Minas Tirith, like those were all miniatures, like composited into a CGI, you know, for the figures and stuff walking around them. Incredible work there, and it looks great. Is corporate movie making to blame for the current stagnant, mushy norm? Yes, I think it pretty much is. Huge budgets, lack of risk taking, lack of innovation, and lack of good writers, I think. And lack of proper artistic visions. All of those things are weighing it down. Nino Rock says, "Are any of you guys fans of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Because Hulu still has the rights to remake it, and Disney is probably going to have to buy the rest of Hulu." Yeah, and they don't have the money to do it, unfortunately, so God knows how they're going to manage that. But yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide, never really a thing for me. I was never that bothered for it. Vimorain says, "Hi, Drinker. Were doggos so distraught from dialysis of destiny that they refused to come on camera today?" Yeah, they were sobbing their hearts out in the living room. No, they just decided to go to sleep in a different room, and I couldn't move them in time. So, yeah, they were not on dog cam. Digital Johnny says, "I have a theory that the scene in Mandy where Nicolas Cage is drinking in the bathroom was just Cage's normal lunch break, but the cameras were live recording." Just mainlining a bottle of vodka and screaming with rage. I can see that being Nick Cage's lunch. I just love that scene. I just love the fact that he's in his fucking Y fronts as well. It's great. Draconic Ice Mage says, "If you guys want to check out a Fever Dream game, watch a trailer for a game called Pal World. It's a survival crafting game that people call Pokemon but with guns." Nice. I'm sold. Waddle D's Nuts says, "I think aliens in Indy could have worked if they used Lovecraftian aliens. That mixes ancient aliens and cults well and can even use cosmic horror." Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be fairly heavy for an indie movie, but yeah, I know why they did it. It was like because it's in the 1950s and it was the era of like the space alien movie, you know, the B movies and stuff, and they wanted to incorporate that in. It just didn't fit with the vibe of the rest of the Indiana Jones movies. Yeah. It was a concept that was just a bit doomed from the start, as far as I was concerned. Yarmouth says, "Open bar movie watching party when?" I mean, Mo and I have done one. We might do more in future. Who knows? Stay tuned. Patrick Mulligan says Last Crusade is too much a retread. Return of the Jedi for Indy. I don't agree. I don't think it's got the flaws that Return of the Jedi's got. Yeah, it's getting familiar by that point, but ultimately it's the same character going on another adventure for like the third time. And yeah, I think the addition of his dad and stuff definitely like gives it a different edge to it. It's got a different tone for Indy. Yeah, they probably relied on comedy a bit with Marcus Brody and stuff. Like he was not a comedic character from the first movie. I don't know why they turned him into a bit of an oaf for this one, but yeah, apart from that, I generally really liked it. Cody Griffin says, I can't believe I live in a world just about all the things I love turned to trash or someone attempted to turn it into trash. Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Marvel, Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty, The Witcher, hell, even Lord of the Rings. Sigh. Yeah, you can add Jurassic Park to that list as well. Terrible. Sasquatch55 says, favourite Robin Hood? 2010, Russell Crowe, Kevin Durand. Mine is the Kevin Costner one with Alan Rickman. I just think it's fantastic. It's cheesy as fuck, and Kevin Costner is an absolute block of wood in it. But man, I like it. It's just fun. Sean DiStefano says, "What are your favorite basic beers, boys?" Mine, well, right now, I'm drinking Moretti, which is pretty good actually, and I love Innocent Gun as well. Failing that, Peroni's a good one. Chris B says that action comment is damning. Spielberg's indie action chops were comparable to James Cameron's action. It's a class of their own. Yep. Spielberg can do action, that's for sure. He could do pretty much anything. Cerebral Tactics says, gents, favourite Tarantino movie? Inglorious Bastards for me. His final film, The Movie Critic, sounds interesting. Love you, drinker. Thank you, man. Favourite Tarantino movie? Crikey. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go for the obvious ones like Pulp Fiction and stuff because it's been done a million times. I love the Kill Bill movies. Like, could you take both of them and kind of class it as one film because it kind of is. It's like one encompassing story. Yeah, it might be that. It might be Reservoir Dogs. I mean, they're all pretty fucking awesome. Yeah, and Inglorious Bastards has definitely got its moments too. Jamie Sedgefield says, here's 10 quid because I'm rich. You absolute Chad, you. Thank you very much, man, and appreciate the donation. Donny Prox says, for the whole panel, thoughts on the Logan movie? More any chance for an EFAP movies of it? Well, I don't know what other people said, but yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was a very good way to end Wolverine. I thought it was a fitting tribute for the character. He kind of went out in a blaze of glory. It's bleak. It's depressing at times, and it's sad to see the X-Men come to an end like that. But I think it went out pretty well. Be interesting to see what they do with him in Deadpool 3. I've seen the pictures today of like his costume, and it's like, wow, they actually gave him the proper yellow costume. I'm impressed. It kind of looks good as well. Dart Noob says, again, I unplugged from the chat for a moment. Topic, Phoebe Waller-Bridge working right now on the next Tomb Raider pop-out. Yeah, I was talking about that before. I don't know why they picked her. I just think she'll fucking murder Lara Croft. She'll turn it into some shitty comedy. It'll be all about the feminist empowerment angle. They'll probably pick some like flat-chested actress because they don't want to sexualize her, and it's like they'll just miss all the elements of that made Lara Croft so awesome in the first place. So yeah. Hopefully that just never comes to fruition. That'd be nice. Odd Jobs Hat says, George Lucas wanted to do Crystal Skull while wrapping Last Crusade. He wanted to do an Ancient Aliens indie movie. Spielberg didn't want to, and after 15 years, Lucas broke him down and Spielberg agreed as long as Harrison Ford agreed. Yeah, I mean, maybe if they'd done it in the 90s, there might have been a different vibe to it, and they might have used more practical effects instead of CGI. Maybe they could have found a way to make it work, but then, yeah, I don't know. It's the concept I still don't think would have been great, but I think if they were going to do a fourth indie movie, it would have been probably sometime in the mid-90s would have been the right time to do it. Chris B says, Farscape made us care about puppets so damn good. Yeah, Farscape was awesome. Pooty Evans says, breaking, Disney just broke ground on a new Disneyland at Tatooine. Yeah, why not? Everything else happens there. Marksman of 117B, the ODST trailer should have been the Halo show. Yep, agreed. Wayland Pacificus, the most serious of questions, who is better in the sack, blondes, brunettes, or redheads? Well, in my experience, usually brunettes, actually. They tend to be more adventurous, but maybe that's just me. Yeah, blondes, they're not as... They don't put the work in, I think. They're a bit lazy, I've found. And redheads, I don't actually think I've had one in the sack. Looking back, I mean, might have done, but my memory's a bit hazy. I can't definitively say on redheads. Donny Prox says, drink you magnificent bastard. If given full control of a Metal Gear Solid movie, do you think you could adapt it well to the silver screen? Yes and no. I think I'd have to cut a lot of like the more Hideo Kojima stuff out of it in order to make it work in a somewhat believable way, because man, that guy has got a very unique view of storytelling, and I don't think it would work in a movie context, but it can be done. I'm sure it can be done. Mr. Hedgebull says, have any of the panel seen The Devil's Hour? A supernatural horror crime drama. Diversity done right with an excellent cast and an interesting premise with some neat plotting. 6 episodes and done. I haven't seen it, but from what you're describing, it sounds good. Ben Rose also just rewatched Infinity War and Endgame. Still firmly believe that the helicarrier should have turned up instead of Captain Marvel to destroy Thanos' ship. Absolutely true. Also, is the panel going on a Transformers arc at any stage? I've got no desire to, but hey, if the rest of them do, I'll see what I can do. But yeah, I think really it should have been the Hulk that destroyed Thanos' ship. That would have given him his revenge arc. That would have been cool, but it would have meant the Hulk actually being a threat in that movie. But no, he had to just be a pussy. And they had to give Captain Marvel her little moment so everyone could groan and roll their eyes. Honest Blu-ray says, Last Jedi was deliberate violence to Star Wars using its source text, The Hero with 1,000 Faces. Johnson predicted fans would inevitably beg for violence against the franchise. 6 years later, I mean, yeah, if that was his intention, fair enough. Jeffrey Hallam says, have you seen Fat Electrician's video on Cassius Clay? I want that guy's story as a movie. Fat Electrician? I have not seen it, no. Last Bandit says, managed to catch a live stream. What do you guys think of the Western series Hell on Wheels? I bloody love it. I don't know about the others. I haven't seen it, I'm afraid, mate. Kedge says, it's not 10 hours, but someone did a 7-hour video analysis on Pokemon Omega Ruby. I hope it's as epic as it sounds. But yeah, that is the last of the Super Chats. I'm sorry, like I say at the beginning, I'm sorry it took me so long to catch up on this. I've just been away for a week. I was on a little vacation, just taking a little bit of time off, but I'm back now and here to get things in order. So, yeah, my next review will most probably be Mission Impossible. I'm looking forward to seeing it soon, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it on Open Bar on Thursday. But for the time being, that is all I've got for today. So, go away now.